So buckthorn by me is fantastic deer habitat, and it's fantastic deer food. It's fantastic for deer, period. But it's an invasive species that's taking over and killing everything else. So it's a bad plant, but deer
Yeah.
love the leaves, and the leaves stay green a lot longer than most other leaves, like well into the fall when everything else is dropping. Um, and the deer eat those green leaves; they love them,
Hmm.
and um, they the trees are really bushes, and they grow in a way that it's almost impossible to get a stand in. I'm sure some of you have seen the videos of me force feeding a tree stand into one of those buckthorn bushes.
Hmm.
I do it occasionally, and you have to get in there. And buckthorn generally is so thick up top that down low, once that stuff starts to mature, it's just open forest. So you got to kind of bend down, but you can see forever. So I mean, from maybe chest up, it's thick. It's a jungle, but if you bend down, you can see forever. So from the ground is very difficult because you don't have any cover. You have you have a tree trunk, and no brush on the ground because there's no trees around or anything to fall down and give you a brush and stuff. So there's not a lot of cover. I mean, you can find cover. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot less places to ground hunt and that stuff than there is like in a forest. So generally, I want to get into the buckthorn a little bit, get a little bit elevated off the ground, or find a tree in there. But the trouble is, you get specific positions you want to hunt, and then you struggle with how am I going to hunt this, and you got to find some way. But the great thing about buckthorn is because you can't get a conventional tree stand in there. I mean, you can't mobile hunt in it with a saddle. The saddle will not work in buckthorn. You
Yeah.
can, most stands won't. My stand won't work in most trees, but there's occasional one I can get it in where I can stuff it in. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or you can get on the ground and stuff yourself in there if you can find the right situation and try to blend in. But nobody else hunts it because they can't get their stand in there. They can't get their saddle under. They can't get their this that or they can't use a climber. They what are you gonna do? Put a pop up in there? Then
Yeah.
they're gonna see you. So the only way to really hunt it is to force a situation, and if you can go into that stuff and catch them off guard. I mean, the hunt we were talking about earlier, not the one at Dave's, but the one on the public, the one where I shot the big one a couple weeks later in the spine and didn't recover it.
Yeah.
That's that property that had all those big bucks in that camera, and that property just gets pounded. Well, I knew all those deer would end up in that buckthorn, and they did. And that buckthorn was easy access from the road. I mean, it was not very far walk. It was right there, right where everybody walks up to it and hunts the edges of it. Nobody goes in there. They don't go in there because there's no trees to hunt. There's no place
Right.
to put a ground blind. There's no, you know what I mean? So occasionally, like gun season, you have people walk around in there, but they got to have cover to bed, but they'll be bedding in thick stuff adjacent to that buckthorn. They'll move into the buckthorn to during the daylight, and that's just the buckthorn is one of the most underrated areas right now.
Throw it up here on the screen so people kind of know what we're talking about. What
Buckthorn
buckthorn
has
looks like.
got those green leaves that the one next to the one you highlighted. It's got the purple berries.
These right here.
See the berries there? Yeah,
Yep.
that's the stuff that we have right there. That's the buckthorn.
Hmm.
The deer don't eat the berries; they eat the leaves. Those green leaves.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You find one of the trees, but it's like a bush. If you think of a
Yeah.
lilac bush with bigger trunks, that's what it looks like, a lilac bush. But maybe double the size.
Yeah. Here, there's a good. Get up here. The screen back up here, like this right here.
Yeah, but they do get trunks on them that are
Yeah.
probably
Right. Quite a bit bigger.
yeah. Maybe sometimes you'll see them at the biggest, as big as your waist, but that'll only go
Oh,
like
okay.
that about 3-4 feet, and then it'll just branch into a million branches.
Right. Yeah, there's a bunch of it undergrowth there.
Yeah,
young stuff.
So you got one poplar tree there. We get a
Yep.
lot of like that. You get up, if you do have a tree in there and you can get up that tree. Generally, the cover from the buckthorn is so thick you can't shoot through it. You can't even see a deer underneath you. You know what I mean?
I guess we do have a little bit of it here, but it's not like I know up in Wisconsin. Whenever I'm up there, like I mean, it's very prevalent up there.
It's just about everywhere, and it spreads fast. So I mean, once you have it, it just starts. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that from 20 years ago. Now all of a sudden it's everywhere.
Right.
Hey everybody, if you like the channel, make sure you subscribe right here. And if you like the clips, I got 2 more options for you. 2 options right here. Subscribe right here. See you guys.